We have 18 hours every week that professional tutors are providing the core content of their home education experience. So I don't feel anxiety that they're going to be missing out on any essential life skills or basic content, because that's what we're paying tutors collectively to provide for us, for our children.
We'd be saying we have the skills to show and to open up our kids' eyes to the world around us, but we don't have the ability to teach. And so for us, homeschooling was always something we couldn't do that because we don't have the ability to do it.
They get how kids work, I think. They understand how kids learn and how they develop, and they want to prioritise that social and emotional growth.
Quite a few people in our community do sit at home at a desk with their children doing maths or whatever it is they think their child needs help with, and so that option's always available. But I think it's definitely what's made home ed possible for us is that you don't have to do that.
Nothing's done just randomly or for its own sake. Like, everything has a purpose and an intention behind it. They merge the academic stuff with physical stuff, or merge the academic stuff with artistic stuff, with drawing pictures, with paintings, with stories that bring it to life.
There's a lot of handcrafts, there's a lot of singing, there's a lot of coordination activities, all done through voice, through play, but it is a structured environment.
You're doing 2 up, then down and jump.
It's attuned to their needs such that they're not aware that that's what's happening. When you listen to them learning verses, it's giving them an intuitive understanding of grammar and sentence construction and language that's actually almost beyond their years, but they don't know they're learning it. It's just part of this sort of rhythmical activity. It's the same for numeracy, that they're not learning maths, they're just using it.
Equal numbers.
Even numbers, yeah, very good.
What Hugh and Bay are offering at Bramleys in the Valley is all about children and what children need.
We spent some time getting to know the tutors. He just completely settled into the venue. The smaller group helped. The behaviour of the other children, the activities they were doing, just all came together and made him feel completely at home. And yeah, it was transformational for him.
The setting just feels like it naturally lends itself to that.
I think it's an amazing space, I really do, and it shows their commitment to the educational practices that they're putting into place.
Hugh and Bay are obviously super committed, so it comes across from the amount of work and love they've put into providing that venue.
We've all invested some of our time in making it work and making it happen and sourcing materials and just doing work days, and so whilst it's their house and it's their space, it feels like a very nurturing community environment for our kids.
I really like the combination of Hugh and Bayer and their personalities and their teaching styles and the way that they are with the kids. I know that they are really focused on doing things really well, like they've got really high standards in terms of their education.
That's what I mean, yeah. It's rooted in that idea that you're talking about educating the child as a whole.
They're looking at the blend of children that they've got and the families that they've got in their group and thinking, what can I do to bring what these children need right now? And every class, every year is going to be different. And watching that happen from the perspective of the child, the parent and the tutor is actually really amazing.
It's really that reverence and that sense of wanting to create an atmosphere and a feeling and thinking about all the different aspects of the kids, what they're doing mentally, but how they're doing emotionally, and just thinking about that environment and what impact it has on them, and seeing each child as an individual and as a whole person.
We're talking about teachers with full qualifications, have worked in schools for years, know their way around child development and practices, but also doing it from a Steiner curriculum perspective, which is really important in terms of that whole life learning and the development of the human rather than development of the person to pass an exam.
If there's a need for a challenge in the child, then the stories that are brought are about challenge and adversity, or if at a certain other age they need support and structure, then the kinds of topics that are covered are designed to address those child's needs.
There's not like an elaborate punishment and reward system, but actually it's really about understanding what's driving that and finding much more subtle but deeper ways of working that through.
The confidence that we see in these kind of scenarios comes from the fact that the first few years are discovering their physical capabilities before their mind is ready for the much more studious ones.
That's it. Try and stick your thumb up a bit.
I think a lot of us would hark back to that sort of ideal way of being educated, and for me that means a village school. All the families know each other, all the kids know each other, and so it does have that feel about it. And because the class isn't massive, they get fantastic, almost one-to-one time with the tutor when they need it.
The skills that they learn there are really amazing in terms of their personal and social development, how they interact within community as a group, working together. Some of the things they've done have really blown me away.
The thing that I really value is the fact that they start and end each day outdoors in the playground, and that just feels like that's a huge part of their physical and their social development. It's a very pleasurable experience to drop your child off in a playground with their friends, having the time of their lives, and then making that transition in what feels like a very kind of natural and gentle way into a learning environment. I've thought a lot about home educating, even from when my kids were really small, but the idea of doing it alone and the idea of having to set up a whole series of different activities throughout the week, I just couldn't see how I could make that work, and I couldn't see how I could make it work with running a business. This feels like an incredible sort of middle ground. I love being deeply involved in my kids' education, but I also love that we're doing it as a community.
We never thought that we could homeschool on our own in isolation. So having a group of parents and a tutor and a community really makes that work.
Education should be part of, it should be your tribe, it should be your community. It's not just the parents' responsibility, it's the responsibility of the community.
Home education isn't that hard, and it's not inaccessible, and actually it's also quite normal, particularly in Bristol. There's an enormous community and there are always more opportunities than you can even manage to take advantage of.